So I decided to take my Mavic Pro with me to Oregon on our visit to Cannon Beach. It's an amazing aircraft, perfect for this sort of thing. However, I will say that I am a complete amateur when it comes to using this aircraft. So a little bit of advice I would give to folks that are doing this for the first time like I was. Know your distance. In this case, I assumed this lighthouse was about half a mile, and turns out it's about a mile and a quarter. And so, judging from the tiny screen on my Galaxy S5, I couldn't tell how far out this lighthouse actually was. And so, visually, it appeared that the Mavic had flown past, and yet on the screen, the lighthouse was staying the same size. Wind that day was relatively low, probably a couple miles an hour, even at altitude. So I was at max altitude, 400 feet, and the Mavic was making great headway, about 20 miles an hour forward. And I did a short test run back just to make sure the wind was about the same. I could make about 22 miles an hour coming back. So I wasn't too worried about that, but given that this was a mile and a half out, or a mile and a quarter out rather, I knew that I had to be careful with the battery. So as you can see here, because I couldn't see, I had turned the aircraft around to try to see how far back. With the land it was easier to see how far out I was going. So here I'm turned back and it's a little closer. The video's been edited, so you can see it jump a little bit. I turned around 2 or 3 times just to make sure that what I was seeing on the screen was still live and that it was still broadcasting in real time. The signal over water was fantastic. I got control and video signal, both were amazing. So problem is, it's probably about a 7-minute flight out at full throttle, and because I stopped a few times and hovered, that kind of thing, I burned up precious battery. And so when I finally get out to the lighthouse, I didn't have enough time to really spend looking around, which is a shame. That was the whole point of flying out there. But I will tell you, it's an amazing place. This Mavic really gives us the opportunity to see things that we would not be able to see otherwise. And so I'm incredibly impressed with this thing, and really need to polish my skills with it. And I wish I had before. I'm not from Oregon, so this is my first time out there, and I really had limited time while I was there. And being better prepared would have resulted in a better video. But as you can see here, we're getting a lot closer. This thing is amazing. It's covered in sea lions, seals or sea lions. So I didn't want to get down too low because I didn't want to disturb them. But I really would have liked to have lowered the altitude, gotten a little closer to get a little more detail. And also, one of the things that would have helped quite a bit would have been to have practiced, operating the gimbal and the heading of the aircraft with respect to the video, so that I could do a nice smooth sort of circle around this object. So really would be good to practice quite a bit. But all in all, again, I'm exceedingly pleased. I was able to get out, make one good pass around the lighthouse, and then over the lighthouse on the way back. Very nerve-wracking. By the time I did this final round the lighthouse and began the journey back, the controller was indicating that we only had about maybe 12 minutes of battery left, and I knew it was approximately 7 to 8 minutes of flight time coming back. And so it's nerve-wracking, right? I mean, your drone is out over water. If it fails, it's gone, and there wouldn't be an opportunity to get it. Even if it were to fail here on the island with the lighthouse, there really would be no way to retrieve it, and that would just be it. So way back there in the background, near the tall hump, is the takeoff point, and 1.25 miles away. And so here I am doing the last pass over the top of the lighthouse, and gimbal up, full throttle. And at this point I've sped up the video just like I did in the beginning. This is 2.5 times speed because it's just so slow, particularly at altitude coming back, that I had to speed it up just to not make it too boring. If you get a chance, I highly recommend visiting this place. The state park there, Ecola, E-C-O-L-A, Ecola State Park in Oregon, is phenomenal. It's a beautiful place, great hiking, and very, very good for this type of photography. We had to hike probably from the parking lot to a reasonable point to where you could see the lake, the lighthouse rather, and have a clear spot to set the Mavic down and take off. Probably 3/4 mile, the majority of it uphill. Beautiful hike though, completely worth it. We ran into a really nice family with some young kids, and they were pretty fascinated with the drone, which is always nice. You know, those of you with drones know that you never know what sort of reaction you're going to get from people when they see you operating a drone. You know, some people are very curious, and for some reason some people are sort of angry and combative, and unfortunately I haven't run into too much of the latter. But these folks are really, really nice and really curious, and you know, ask all the questions, and so it was really, really cool to run into them. But here it's coming back. I'm about to slow it back down so that you can see the approach. So the video is coming back down now to regular speed, and I can see the drone, but I'm having a hard time orienting it to where I am so that I can get it safely back landed. Another tip here for those of you that may be newer: make sure and hover for 10-15 seconds after you set your precision takeoff to give it a really good point. I asked it to do the auto land here, and it tried to land essentially in the water, and I had to manhandle it back in while it was trying to descend. So give it ample time to set the precision landing point. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment below, and next time I get to do it, I'll do a better one for you. But thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Lastly here, I just wanted to try and zoom in on the lighthouse as I did the passover, just to see if with a 4K video resolution, if I could actually see more of the animal life out there, because it appears that every flat surface there is covered in a seal or sea lion. I'm not sure which, but it really phenomenal how they managed to get all the way to the top. It's very high there at the lighthouse. Once again, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video.